You know, it's so interesting too when you look at the United States, and you could imagine if something happened in this region that we would, they would come to our aid, as would any of our allies, you would presume. But we are very isolated, aren't we? You have to remember that.
And a lot of the fact that we sent 50,000 young men, many young men who died on the Western Front is an indication of how we used to go away from wars. Well, now we're in the centre of the world, and that's an important change for us.
Tom, bring you in there on that point.
Well, look, I think Jim's right. I mean, Australia is the only nation that has participated in the United States in all wars in the last century. There is that close relationship, tied on values, but also more often than not interests. But occasionally interests do collide. The United States and Australia did not see eye to eye in the Suez Crisis in 1956. Eisenhower and Menzies were at loggerheads. Menzies and Kennedy took a different issue on West Papua.
It's interesting
so these things happen.
It's interesting to that point, and we saw during the week when we reversed our decision on India in relation to uranium, and we've heard that that's what the United States wants now. We know that they're increasing the number of troops here as well. Is it a case of the United States still says, I want you to jump, and we say, how high?
I think that might be a bit crude. I mean, Australia does have its own national interests, and as I say, there have been examples in the past where Australia has taken issue with the United States. But I suspect as we move into the next decade or so, with China's rise and America's decline, there'll be more emphasis, I think, for Australian policymakers to distance themselves from Washington on certain issues. For example, if there is a spat in the South China Sea or the Taiwan Straits, and America and China do come to blows, that can't be ruled out in light of China's rise.
What about China's perception of us? Do they think, well, hang on a second, the US asked you to do something and you just do it? Haven't we grown up enough now to say no on certain things?
Well, I think Australia's been an independent state since 1901, but you have to bear in mind, ever since 1901, Australia has hitched its defence wagon to a great and powerful friend, as Robert Menzies put it. The first half of the 20th century it was Great Britain. Since the war, and particularly at the height of the Cold War, it's been the United States. I think the age of simplicity is starting to end. It's going to be a more demanding diplomatic game where Australia will have to ride these two horses simultaneously.
And it's interesting when the economics of it all come into that balancing act. It's all good. Stay with us, boys. We'll have more of this continuing coverage of President Barack Obama's visit. He's at the War Memorial at the moment, and we'll be back with more right after this. Stay with us.